We're here talking about Heaven is on the Way. Spence, Cheryl, Stefan, Mike. Thanks for doing this, guys. This is fun. Take us to the beginning. Like, how did this come about? How did you guys even get in the room together? Have you been friends for a long time? Take us into the moment that this song came about.
So I guess I'll take that.
Yeah.
So this was actually, this song was kind of the start of a beautiful friendship on, just the four of us. But it was the first time that Stefan and I, like our publishers, kind of hooked us up to write. Okay. And I was like, I don't know this guy, Cheryl.
So you guys didn't even know each other?
No,
Okay.
I just knew he was like from Atlanta, and I was like, I don't know, we'll see how this goes. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then Cheryl was on the right, and then the day before, I had grabbed coffee with Spence. First time I'd ever met him, and the whole time we were talking, I was just like, I don't know, I just felt like the Lord was saying, invite him to write, So I didn't even ask these guys.
Yeah.
I was just like, dude, what are you doing tomorrow? You want to come write with us? And he was like, sure.
Yeah.
So, literally, we show up for this write. None of us know each other that well.
Yeah.
But man, we wrote this song, Heaven's on the Way, and it was awesome. And now, Stefan's a big part of what we're doing, and Spence has become family to us in the church. And
Spence, walk us through that moment, because you're like newer to town, don't know a whole lot of people, and here you are, like almost immediately thrown in the room with these these crazies. Tell us about that moment for you.
That was nerve-wracking for sure.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, I had this thing like, okay, don't do too much, but don't do anything.
I got to contribute, but I don't want to over.
You don't want to be that guy, right? But yeah, it was great. Like, I think we spent 30 or 45 minutes just talking and getting to know one another, and that really, I think, set the tone for what the song was going to be about. You know, just sharing our stories with each other, sharing our lives, and I think that's a big part of songwriting, at least, is just being able to be vulnerable and open up your heart, and talk about what's real.
Yeah.
I think that's where it all started.
Yeah, Stefan, tell us about just the idea, Heaven is on the Way. Like, where did that come from in conversation? How did you get to that?
I think it was just an idea that was kind of floating around. Usually when you get in the room, you're all kind of like sifting through ideas and what you've kind of got in your notes or whatever. And obviously, like playing off of the conversation that we were having, and I think I might have had like a chordal idea. I think I just started actually playing acoustic guitar at the beginning of that write. And sometimes you just kind of open your mouth and you start singing, and it kind of finds its way. And that's how it began. It just began with a simple chord progression, just finger picked, and we
hoped he was a good player.
Yeah, didn't even know if you could play guitar. They were like, hope this guy can play.
Yeah.
I left Atlanta at 5 a.m. that morning to make this write, so I didn't even know if I could play guitar.
You were exhausted. You should write more songs exhausted. It works out great for you. The ones you write when you're rested are terrible.
The filter's gone when you're fried. And that helps.
I think that's what laid the foundation for how well we connected, though, too. It was like, I was 3 months pregnant, and I didn't even know these guys, but I think I told them right then in the right, just so we could like get everything out of the way and just be honest where we're at. And,
That's so good. So Mike, tell us, like, I know when you guys are writing, you're writing songs for the church, and you want to write songs that we need to be singing, sometimes even in a certain season. Like, God, what are you doing in our church right now? What is it about just the theme of the song, Heaven is on the Way, that you're like, our people, our church, we need to be singing this right now?
So, this is kind of an ongoing season for us, but we pray for revival. We believe that we are currently seeing it, but we are also always asking for more, And this song, when we wrote it, the chorus, I will sing when I don't feel it. I will believe before I see it. And that's kind of like the heart of the posture that we want to have, is that it's not like, all right, Lord, prove it. Where's revival? I want to see it. It's like, no, I will believe before I see it. Like, this is happening. This is coming. Heaven is on the way. Like, and is currently here, but there is more. There's always more.
That's good. Yeah. Cheryl, jump in on that. Well, same question for you. Like, what was going on in the life of our church where you feel like we need this song right now?
I remember we always want to give a voice to Crosspoint. We were always thinking of, if we were in the room on a Sunday morning, what do you feel in the room? What would you want to say to somebody? Maybe it's their first Sunday at Crosspoint, or maybe it's somebody who's been there for a long time and has been a believer for a long time. We consider who is singing this, not just us. And I remember that day specifically, we were thinking about someone who maybe didn't believe yet, or maybe somebody who was just tired and weary in their faith. And then one of the lyrics in the chorus says, "Your promise is my strength." And I remember being like, man, I need to say this on days when I'm tired and I feel like, man, I've been praying for something and it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
We need to be reminded that heaven and revival and kingdom here is coming. And it's not, we don't get to just stay here and like, man, it never happened, it never will. God is restoring all things to himself. And so that is encouraging for all believers, whether you're new or you've been around for a long time, to continue to be strong because of God's promise that kingdom will come.
That's so good. And let's stay on that track. Like, let's keep it personal. So as you guys are leading this song, I love that you're writing songs that you need to sing, because there's a chance if I need to sing this, someone else needs to sing it. So Spence, when you're leading this song and you're singing it, what is the moment of the tune where you're like, yeah, God, I need to be living this, I need to be saying it? Or is there a part that really resonates deeply with you personally?
I think for me, it's the first couple lyrics. When the answers are unknown, when there's fear and letting go, when there's nothing left to hold, I will wait on you, you know? That's because that's a scary place to be. You know, it's one thing to have faith when you're in a season of abundance and you're on the mountaintop. It's one thing to shout God's promises. It's another thing to do it in a season where you don't have a whole lot and you're in a season of weakness. And to still in that moment say, I'm going to trust and I'm going to believe in who you are, that you're going to carry me through it, that you're working all things out, that you don't waste a moment. And just from this top, just the first couple lyrics really just bring me back to that place. And it's like, man, yes, you know.
What I love about the songs that you guys write is that you don't ignore the struggle. They're hopeful songs, but you bring us into the real. Like, a lot of times I think it's easy for us in worship to try to pretend like the pain and the suffering and the struggle doesn't exist, and so let's just focus on God. But I think God wants to be invited into the pain and struggle, and you guys write lyrics that you have a way of doing it where it's not negative, it's hopeful, but it also addresses, like what you just said. Those lyrics are so powerful. Stefan, help us know, how does it impact you, your story? Why do we need to be singing the real stuff?
Well, for me, I didn't for so long. And then my wife and I had twins 5 years ago, and they were premature, and they were born at 28 weeks. And we went through all kinds of health issues, living at a hospital for weeks on end, trying to make sense of our faith in the process of feeling like so much was being torn from us that we had just hoped and dreamed for so long. And it just kind of takes your theology when you hit crisis mode and just kind of flips it on its head. And you're like, okay, now the real work begins. And I just started praying, and God started using the situation with our twins to just resurrect my faith in a completely new way. And it's just funny. So I started reading the Psalms, and it's amazing how sometimes we can get so far away from the way the Psalms are. If you read the Psalms, there is it's sometimes even poor theology. Like, it's just hopeless.
Right.
Like, there's just hopelessness. But it always ends, with the exception of a few, but still I will praise you. And I began to think about that, like, man, if I can adopt that, that engages all of humanity. It's not just the mountaintop experiences that our Christian life. The Christian life is so much more the valley than the mountaintop. So if we can bring that into our worship, I think it can change everything.
Totally. And the songs you guys are writing are actually leading us into what I believe is discipleship and spiritual maturity, where what we're saying is God's goodness is not dependent on circumstance.
Right.
Heaven's on the way. Like, regardless of what happens in our life, it's coming now, and it is also our hope. Like Pastor Kevin will say, it's here and not yet at the same time. And so as we're singing these songs, it's discipling us. Like, I'm saying over myself what I need to believe even before I believe it. Might talk to that a little bit. Like,
no,
why is that
I love
important?
that. I love that thought. Like, any song that says, "Oh my soul," or like you're speaking out not from your brain, but from a different spot where it's like, we are so much more than physical beings. We are spiritual beings, and our spiritual being longs to be in communion with Jesus, whether we physically want to or not. So the thought of, for me, it's saying it, even if I don't feel it, that gets me to a different spot, right? So it's acknowledging the reality, but the goal is, the hope is that we're not staying there.
Right.
You know what I mean? That we acknowledge the pain, we acknowledge what we're in the middle of, but we say, but I have a hope. So I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna sing it, I'm gonna pray it, even if I don't feel it, even if I don't believe it, trusting that we will get there. Like heaven will arrive, like we will be in that spot. So
I love that. I want to ask you all this question. Cheryl, we'll start with you, and I want you all to just have an answer for this. But when we're singing this song corporately, we're singing it together, what is your hope and prayer that happens as we sing this in us? Like individually, but also corporately, whether we're experiencing online or digitally, whether it's in person, like what is your prayer? Like, God, I want you to do this as we sing this song.
Yeah, I think about, I think the miracle would be somebody open their mouth for the first time in a long time, or for the first time after maybe they hear the lyrics. Because, I think about people being comfortable in a congregation setting with a cup of coffee, and sometimes it can get twisted and think, well, I'll just listen, I'll sit and listen. And that's beautiful too. But I think when somebody opens their mouth and goes, hey, yeah, I'll sing before I see it. I'll be in this moment, even though my circumstances say differently.
Yeah.
I think that bridge lyric, as we draw near to you, you draw near to us. Nothing can separate us. And then going back into that chorus is us declaring, okay, this is true. This is scriptural, God. We know that when we draw near to you, you draw near to us. Like anytime we take a step toward Jesus, he won't turn his back. He will come near to us. And then we go back into that chorus, and I'll sing before I see it.
Wow.
It's kind of like reminding your soul, hey, I'm going to draw near to Christ. And even if I don't even feel it, I need to remind myself that he's in that space with me. So an open mouth would be great.
Well, and so much, you're just making me think, so much of worship is that. It's us declaring first, like it's letting our heart and our soul catch up in our mind, like we're aligning and recalibrating around what's true. And oftentimes we have to sing it in our worship. We have to go there, and then God meets us. And sometimes our emotions follow, sometimes we're not there yet. Spence, what about you? Like
It's kind of the same. It's just that I think that God's promises and his faithfulness would be enough.
Yeah.
And even when we don't have the answers, or we haven't arrived to whatever destination we're hoping for, but we know who he is, and we know that he's with us in the waiting, or he's with us in the process, and that's enough. I think that changes everything for the worshiper, to worship through highs and lows, and consistently worshiping, just seeing that faithfulness take root in the worshiper, that Jesus is enough. As long as he's with me, I can walk through anything.
Almost out of discipline, and then you get to you feel it later.
It's faithfulness, right? Like I think that's what it is. It's for me, and I loved how you were like doing this. You're like, what do you want people? Because that's what it is for me. It's like this welling up of confidence, not in what's going on around us, but in who Jesus is. It's like, okay, Lord, dang it, I'm gonna be faithful. You know what I mean? Like no matter what, like I might not see it, I might not feel it, but I've made a choice. And Christianity is not about, we all want to come and have a good, like feel good Sunday.
Right.
But it's like, I don't want to sing songs that foster that all the time. Like I want us to sing songs that people stop and go, wait, are they like reading my mail right now? Like I didn't know I could sing that in church, So
And Stephen, don't you think like when we sing that together, it also like Mike's make me think, sometimes we feel like we're alone and isolated in the struggle. And when I look around a room, or even I just realize, hey, I'm singing this with a bunch of people that are struggling too. We're so good at masking the pain and the struggle of life, and we assume everyone, it's the social media version, everyone's got it good. We look around and be like, man, I'm there too. I'm with you too.
That's right. Yeah. It absolutely. It's just that hope. Hey, keep returning to the altar.
Yeah.
Like keep doing it, even when it feels completely just cerebral.
Yeah.
And you can't even put your heart into it because you feel so gripped with whatever is going on in your life. To see other people break when they sing that allows you to break. And sometimes it gives you the permission you need. I think there's something so powerful about singing that and embracing the the humanity of our condition.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, thank you for writing songs that help us embrace the real and the ideal at the same time, right? It's us saying this is real, but also Jesus, you are real, and we still have hope and we have eternity. And it's just, this song has become an anthem for our church. So thank you for writing it for us.
That's true.